introduction! Oh boy! Some days later, I spot Rin and Sei standing outside in the front of the gallery, as they walk down the street towards the gallery. Seem to be talking to each other while Sei has a smoke. Good afternoon. I say this even though it's not really afternoon anymore. I came a bit later than usual since I got caught up doing homework. It's gonna be dark soon. Hello there, Hisao. Come to visit the little kitten again. Rin makes a face at the nickname. I guess she doesn't really like it. Ironically, the way she wrinkles her nose like that really does make her look like a little bit like a cat. Hello. Sei turns back to Rin to continue the conversation they were having. So, in other words, everything's going well enough? It makes a difficult expression and turns her face away from me for some reason. It's difficult. It's like I'm missing something, but I will do it. Work hard and they'll be fine. I'm going to have to start working on my part of the preparations. I need to go to the sales catalog, invitations, decorations, advertisements, and so on. I need the names of your works, and we will need to think of the general theme for the exhibition. They don't have anything like that. I'm not very good with words, so I don't use them. If I cannot use them, I mean sometimes I have to, but I think this is not a time like that at all. You don't like naming your works? I don't like it. Well, I guess it's hard to come up with a good name for something like this. Rin shakes her head vehemently. It's not that. It's like if I paint a cloud and call it an octopus. People will think about it differently than if I paint a cloud and call it the end of the world. Every name is wrong. Nothing ever explains what I feel like when I make a painting. It's not a word thing. The only thing would be to come up with new words for everything. But would it help at all? No, I don't think so. Then, the paintings would go with just unnamed number 1 and so on? It's a bit inconvenient, but that's no good. Unnamed means that you just didn't come up with a good name. And unnamed is a name, like that Greek guy with the sheep and all. Sei thinks about this for a while, furrowing her brow as she keeps looking at Rin's serious face. So, you're saying your artwork should be completely without labels? I think that's what I'm saying. Sei lets out a dry laugh. The kind old ladies who smoke too much seem to end up with. Let's hope your art will never end up in a museum. The curators would explode. Takes a contemplative puff on a cigarette, which is worn down not much more than the butt. Then she drops it into the ashtray, fixated to the wall next to the door. Then again, it could work. What do you mean? This namelessness, this rejection of labels, it works. It's a good unifying theme. It's something that people can grasp onto easily. Allows for a lot of room for interpretation. It gives a good impression. Think about it. I don't have a consistent... How come whenever Sei comes in the picture, I can never get a consistent voice for her? Think about it. All sorts of associations can be made. Starting from identity and self-definition, all the way to whatever you want to think about. You can call your exhibition Nameless and build on that theme. How does that sound? Rin thinks about this for a while. I'm not sure how Sei managed to get so fired up by Rin's reluctance to apply names to her works. I think she might be extrapolating too much, but it's a pretty impressive sounding idea. I don't think it's a bad idea. For what it's worth, I have to say it sounds pretty good to me too. Sei reaches into her pocket for another cigarette, lights it with the neon green butane lighter. Her forehead wrinkles as she burns it as she appears to furiously think about more on this idea. She doesn't say a word for a little bit, and every now and then she takes a sharp drag from the cigarette. Yes, I think this would work out pretty nicely. I'm going to take this as a starting point and work from there. I'm going in to work on this. You go back upstairs and try to focus on your missing ingredient. I'm sure I'll come to you sooner or later. Rin doesn't reply, so Sei takes one last long puff from a cigarette and drops it in the tray, joined with the others of his kind. Galliano turns to head back inside, but is stopped by Rin just as she reaches for the door handle. Sei? What is it, kitten? Can I have some cigarette? Rin, no! She looks at Rin incourteously, clearly not having expected such a direct request. Not that I did either. Don't tell your teacher. She stuffs the packet in Rin's pocket along with the neon green lighter. Did you... Say no! What? Don't encourage this! My God, say. Say no. Why? Don't do this to me. I don't like to hang around smokers. To be fair, I didn't like hanging around with Zap until I realized she smoked in this part, but still. The day is already folding into dusk when we climb the dark staircase leading up to what is now basically Rin's atelier. As we go inside, Rin doesn't seem to be able to settle down. She keeps pacing around the room like a caged animal, looking through the skylight as a burgundy-colored dusk. The last light of the sun's advance across the skies reflects from the clouds floating over the town, filling every corner of the atelier with blazing orange light. So, painting is going well? She blinks, then relaxes her muscles. I didn't even realize how tense she was up until now. Not really. I haven't painted in 3 days. I'm going in circles. Squares. Circles, if you say so. I tried doing things a bit differently, but it doesn't work. And now the old way doesn't work either. I need something more. It's not enough like this. Ray's response gives me pause, since, as usual, I can't exactly understand what she means. Although really I shouldn't have expected anything else. She either says nothing at all, or too much. Trying to comprehend and follow her train of thought feels like wading through the jungles of Borneo, equipped with a wooden spoon and a map of Hokkaido. It's annoying how her thoughts are both laid out in plain sight, and hidden from view every time she opens her mouth. What more? You said to say it's going as well. A missing ingredient? I think I have to destroy myself. Okay, that sounds unnecessarily... that sounds unnecessarily grim. What do you mean? Her shoulders slump as she turns to face me directly. I have to change. I've tried, but this is not enough yet. I have to destroy myself first, I think. Just to be clear, you're speaking metaphorically, right? Like, learning to paint from scratch again or whatever, so to speak? She shrugs her shoulders, and there's no difference! There is no difference. Red! So, are you going to start by smoking a cigarette for inspiration? Maybe. I never tried this before. Have you? No, I can't say I have. Kinda can't with this whole heart problem? You know the thing I could die from? Still, I'm not really sure if having a smoke is the best starting point. She responds to my words with another nonchalant shrug. Up a cigarette pack and look inside. Someone's She just bought that too. Say what the fuck? Smoking is bad for you, but that's the idea here, I guess. Yes, I need to do something. I want to paint. I need something more. So, okay, fine. What's after smoking a cigarette then? How do you intend to destroy yourself? Ren thinks for a split second, putting her gaze like she does when she doesn't want to get distracted. I don't know yet. I'll decide later. Ren bends down to pick out a cigarette from the end. She raises her head from one between her lips and turns to me. Eyebrows curved into two arcs, challenging me to respond. She has a cigarette in her mouth. Ren! With a sigh of resignation, I pick up the lighter and raise it to meet the cigarette. I can feel Rin's warm breath against my quivering hand. The flame flickers to life on the third strike of the flint, trying to aim the dancing fire at the end of the cigarette. An amber-colored glow spreads into the wrapping paper and tobacco as Rin inhales the first smoke. Seems to relax her significantly. To my surprise, she doesn't cough, despite telling me that she's a first-timer. Rin seems to remember that it's hard to blow the smoke out without spitting the cigarette out as well. She quickly sits down on the floor, bringing her foot to her lips like a citrus contortist, and expertly picks the filter between two toes. I get down on the floor as well, and we both lay down almost simultaneously while Rin blows a steady stream of smoke towards the dim sky beyond the glass of a skylight, looking after it thoughtfully. thin haze of steely blue smoke slithers towards the ceiling in fish-like movements. It billows in the stagnant air of the atelier, twisting and turning around its own immaterial body until it dissipates in the thin air. What's the word for smoke that looks like that? There is no word for that. We should maybe come up with one. Maybe. Rin takes another quick experimental drag. It's not very tasty. Feels like inhaling the dust lying on top of a forgotten book about the memories of a dead kingdom. That's oddly specific, too. Do you want to try? My hesitation unintentionally surfaces again, making me freeze in the face of a rather trivial and commonplace challenge. Rin's ability to take everything so coolly is something I'm a bit jealous of. Hisao, no! Alright. Hisao! Taking it from her, I have a drag on it, fighting against the sudden choking feeling in my lungs as they fill with smoke, because smoking is bad for you! To my embarrassment, I fail, wheezing and hacking my lungs out. Please do not have a goddamn heart attack, Hisao! I know it's not that bad, but still, I am just very worried for him. I feel flustered, but maybe I haven't lost too much faith in Rin's eyes. It's less unpleasant on the second try, but I still pass the cigarette back to Rin. We're like a pair of budding delinquents in middle school, sneaking their first smoke out of sight of their teachers and parents. Well, I suppose it's not like. That's exactly what we are. Well, we're not middle school. After a while, the cigarette has shrugged most of the way down to the filter. Rin is still looking quietly out of the skylight. Without looking out there, the silence inside the atelier seems to deepen even more. Are the cogs of creativity turning behind those eyes right now? Do another one. My god! I mechanically pick up another cigarette, light it, and place it on Rin's lips. She takes a few quick puffs and moves it awkwardly around with her lips. Fuck it. Fuck fifth. Not understanding a gobbled words, I glance over to Rin. Looks like she's having trouble with the cigarette. I back the cigarette from her lips and place it on mine, abandoning common sense and good reason why I do so. The first one should have been enough for me, but I take another drag, still coughing a little at the unpleasant sensation of smoke invading my respiratory organs. Then stop doing it! I remember doing something like this before. So you have smoked? Doesn't look like it though. Nah, lay on my back and look at the sky with you. Oh. The sky on the other side of the glass is slowly growing darker. It's unreachably high, even if the shimmering smoke seems to make it closer. I turn the cigarette back to Rin's mouth. It feels bad somehow. The space between us, less than arm's reach, is still there. It's the distance between us, the immeasurable wide chasm of thoughts and feelings, separates us with graver certainty than even light years of physical distance could. By saying the right words, there might be a way to make that chasm narrower, even if it's just a little. Trying to cross that gap with one big step, but Rin turned me back. I glanced at her out of the corner of my eye. Rin is staring upwards through the smoke-filled ceiling and the skylight at the darkening sky above us. It looks like she is sleeping, even though I know she isn't. Her eyes are open, as is her mouth. I take the cigarette from Rin before it falls on her cheek. She doesn't react to my touch in any way, so this is where we are now. What if we could ever be closer than this? I take a drag of cigarette and blow a thin stream of smoke upwards. These indirect kisses are the only things that are connecting us right now. The taste of Rin's lips on the filter, mixed with the ashen taste of the smoke. Soft lips against my fingers as I pass the cigarette on her mouth, as if she was placing kisses on them. The ash softly falling on the floor between us like snow. The second cigarette is being finished. I already lighting the only thing breaking the stillness of the atelier is the inaudible sound of smoke floating towards the first stars gleaming overhead. Light nausea hits me by the fourth or fifth cigarette. Stop! Why are you doing so many? Before long, the shape of the waxing moon appears in the skylight, shedding her wan light down on us. It'll be a full moon in a few days. It'd be nice to be able to fly. I flinch after realizing it was my own voice that gave birth to the remark. The bastard child of an almost inebriating smoke and tiredness. You can't? You can? Sometimes I feel like I can. Like it. Think I can do anything. I wish I felt that way too sometimes. What if she hears the bitterness seeping into my words? A vicious cycle of unrequited feelings is poisoning me, even now. Try to push the grim thoughts aside. My efforts met with little success as my mind keeps swirling around what ifs and if all onlys. If onlys. Watching the moon slowly creeping higher, I realize that a long time has passed since I came here. Sours me up somewhat, but also reminds me of the sad status quo we're in now. It's late. I better get back to school. I stand up to leave, but Rin doesn't show any signs of rising up from the floor. She lies inanimate, as though all life has been sapped from her. A little wisp of smoke floated about her, memories of the cigarettes we shared. I grasp her by her short and thin arm and try to pull her up. To my surprise, she complies and stands up with some help for me. Notice how little Rin weighs, as if she were made of feathers. Are you going to stay here overnight? I have to. I haven't painted much in 3 days. I have to find out how I can stop painting. Maybe the smoke helps. Just take a break? That's no good. I have to do it. If I can't paint anymore, I will be destroyed for real. Maybe you're just burnt out. You have been working pretty hard. That would be bad. It I wonder if this is it for me. I wanted to see how far I could go. Maybe this is it. The end. You just have artist block. It's not that big of a deal. That's the word you for when you can't paint, right? I've had that before. Never like this though. I pick up a brush, then I want to put it down right away. And then I do. 3 days. It's like I've forgotten how to paint. I didn't think that was possible. Like more impossible than Emmy growing wings and a tail. You need a break. I mean, I get that you've been trying to go deeper inside yourself for your paintings, but it's really not that healthy to stay inside your own head for so long. Glisten the night sky visible through the window. A couple of stars are weakly twinkling above the sky. They remind me of something I used to do. Once upon a time. Feels so horribly long ago. Come on, let's go outside. Where? Just for a walk. I'll show you my secret place. I don't know if it works in this town, but we can try. In any case, you need a break. And probably something to eat. Come on. You need to get your thoughts away from this for a while. When they're troubled, most people escape from their unhappy lives into a world of fantasy. I did that before, and still do today. Reading books endlessly, immersing myself in their world rather than my own. Rin's escape should be the other way around, though. Out of her inner world and into the real. Rin doesn't look happy about this, but I ignore her. At least she's somewhat cooperative, walking after me as we head down the stairs and then down the sidewalk. Night has fallen upon the town. It's a gentle summer night, smelling of flowers and hot asphalt. The sunlight is replaced by shining neon colors and bland yellow streetlights. The air is so easy to breathe, as if the air pressure was noticeably lighter than usual. The feeling of daylight in this hot summer has lasted long into the evening and night. I grab Rin by her sleeve, like I've seen Emmy do, and to my surprise, she obediently follows. The pale streetlights fight against the all-enveloping darkness as we walk together. The guide and the guided, although neither knows the destination. But it doesn't matter. This is one of the moments where the usual silence that have become a ritual between me and Rin at last fit perfectly. We walk side by side, choosing directions on impulse or inspiration. Sometimes we find ourselves back at a street we've already seen once or twice. Sometimes we find new streets. All of them look asleep. Rin doesn't ask where we're going. Maybe she doesn't care. Maybe she knows. I don't have an answer. Silence of the night isn't scary. After all, the lights drive most of it away. The air grows cooler as the night moon progresses, along its journey in the cloudless sky. Few cars roam the streets at this hour, and even fewer people are on the sidewalk. The apparent lack of nocturnal life is somehow befitting this place. There are round-the-clock shops and cafes, sure, but the atmosphere is like the town itself is slumbering. Slumbering. Town that sleeps 8 hours a day. The city I grew up in, bathed in an electric glow of a million light bulbs, never slept. I've seen it for myself. It's not the first time I've done this. It happened one of the first times I was home alone. Both of my parents had business trips that neither could cancel, so they deemed me old enough to survive 2 days on my own. The misplaced trust in me did not go to waste, as I proceeded to spend the entire night out walking around the city. Even afterward, I couldn't say what made me stay downtown longer than I intended after school. I didn't feel like going home, so I stayed through the evening and eventually through the entire night. I worked long, con- concentric circles around a landmark chosen at random. For some reason, the nighttime city felt fascinating. So, I walked the streets. At every intersection, it was possible to choose a direction at random because they all led to nowhere. The aimless wandering made me see things differently. I hope it'll do the same for Rin. We stopped to buy some hot coffee and snacks from the vending machine, then locate a bench where we sit down to eat. There was no time the night of the town, so we spent an unknown amount of it just sitting there, observing the stillness of the usually vivid townscape. Still, it's getting very late, and soon it'll be getting very early. So this is it? Hearing Rin's voice surprises me. She doesn't sound bored, rather her tone is inquisitive, uncertain as to why I dragged her out here. You're curious to find out the answer. Yeah. Have you ever been out at all night? It's like a different world. The remark sensed her thinking for a while, looking around as if she was looking for something. The wisp of light reflecting from the corners of her eyes are suddenly very sharp. It's not a different world. It's the same, just asleep. What do you think this town is dreaming of? Maybe something like a car sheep or building sheep? Why are dreams always about sheep? Never seen a sheep-related dream that I can remember. Do different towns dream of different things? Probably. How could they not? I answer half jokingly, half spurring her on. For the first time tonight, it seems like a bit of Rin's life has returned to her. She doesn't continue her list of rhetorical questions, though instead, she leans back a little and looks up at the moon traveling above the town. The cold breeze blowing between the buildings seemed to steal the conversation away, before it even really begins. Give me some cigarettes, Hisao. This would be a perfect time. It's too bad. It looked like Rin would get out of her blue mood. Wish I could somehow know the right things to say, but I realize I can't do that the way I am now. I'm too far apart from Rin. I haven't really managed to crack her open. It's just too complicated. It's like she's open to everything. Equally disinterested in everything from the outset. In truth, she's locked tighter than anyone else I know. Even myself. Sometimes, she locks herself inside the inner world, shutting everything else out. At other times, her thoughts flow freely from her mind, but not organized in any fashion that would make them intelligible to the rest of the world. What comes out in the form of paintings, I can't interpret it. To me, it's just a sea of colors and shapes, not a message. She's too far away. I now know it was a bad idea to try to reach for her in the way I did, but I can't help liking her. I look at the fingers of my right hand, trying to remember what Rin's lips felt like against them. Do you ever feel like you're trying to reach out for something that's impossible to reach? Rin turns her gaze to me, turning her head quizzically. I wonder if she understands the meaning of my rhetorical question or not. Either way, I like how I can manage to catch her attention by just speaking aloud nowadays. All the time. At least, I think so. That's what paintings feel like. A lot of them. More all the time. I don't know. Sometimes I get the feeling that I can really paint what I want. Sometimes it feels like it's just another shadow of mine. Like a mirror that doesn't work right. Like talking? Maybe. When I was little, I didn't really have friends. Maybe it's the same now. The only things I liked were my pens and paints. They were the only things that understood me. Now, it feels like that is going away too. Change really is a scary thing. I wish I could understand you. She looks at me melancholically, roused by my thoughts materializing as words spoken aloud. Me too. Whether she meant she wished for me to understand her, to understand me, or her to understand herself, I never ask, nor do I find out. I see her eyes searching for mine. Serious and cryptic as they are, I'm not getting any explanation from you there. Don't worry about it. I will. Small hints of smile are wavering on her lips. When she's like this, makes me feel like that there's maybe hope for us. We get along so well for being so different. It's just that we never really get along precisely because we are so different. Maybe it was Vin's passionate approach to our own art exhibition, perhaps my own careless words, but last week was different from usual. The small friction between us seems to be somewhat volatile, but at least we are now seem to be back to normal, relatively speaking. We set up from the bench and pick yet another direction to which to go. The wee hours of night slowly pass by as we measure the streets of the town, one step at a time. We are finally at ease, not minding the rare lone passerby, the eerie darkness, each other, ourselves. Rin's steps seem lighter, like the heavy air around her is letting go a little. Makes me feel happy. We don't talk, save for the single remarks that are spoken into the night of the town, and never answered. The details jump into the eye instead of being the usual blur they are during the day. As the sky above the town changes from deep, dark blue to gray, I know that our night is soon ending. It's almost morning. Rin looks up too and nods at me. It's true, the coming light of morning creeping through the sky, climbing higher by the minute. Feels so real. The sun won't come up for a while, but I get the feeling that the end of this night really is here now. Shall we head back? Rin nods again, twice her hair waving in the breeze that seems to be heralding the coming dawn. Abruptly, she takes off, taking the lead in this walkabout on which I brought her. Seems like she really is in a better mood. This too makes me feel happy. Rin's navigation skills are probably not much better than mine, but we eventually find ourselves in front of Safe's place at 5 in the morning. I don't know if this is any help. I did this once before, but it was more because of a stupid impulse or maybe restlessness back then. Maybe this was a silly idea and didn't really help you at all. She just nods as an answer. So, do you know how you're going to destroy yourself now? Yes, with a gun. I have some ideas. I don't want to see you for a while. Don't come and see me. Do something else. Ultimatum catches me completely off guard. Shares biscuits. What the hell? What's that about? You said before that you didn't mind. I mind now. It's just for a while. I have to do this alone. I don't like that. Why? I don't want to go like this. Why? I just don't want to feel this distance between you and me. She has her head like a bird, her eyes narrowing a little as she thinks. Then you can touch me. What? You can touch me if you want. You'd feel better, right? I don't know. Try. Where do you want me to touch you? No boobs or left ear. Other than that, you can decide. Why left ear? Fine. Raise my hand hesitantly, even though I don't know why I'm actually doing this. Her eyes telling me that she's not going to explain. Thousands of thoughts race through my head as I slowly bring my hand closer to Rin's face. Press 3 fingers against her pale cheek. Rin feels soft and cold. Closes her eyes on contact and visibly relaxes. Feel a soft breathing. Her muscles release tension as my fingertips caress her cheek. She doesn't rest her head against my palm or anything else you'd expect a girl to do in this sort of situation. In fact, she hasn't reacted at all, save for those now shut eyes. Though it's on my hands, she opens them again. Might just be an illusion created by the timid morning sunlight playing with my eyes, but it looks like she's holding back a smile. This is the problem with our relationship. Half the time I have no idea what's going on, and the other half I just fail to understand why things are going on like they are. As usual, I'm not going to get an explanation. Rin barely takes a step towards the door. See you later. Then she disappears from my reach for an undefined period of time. That's all for this time. This is Resunk the Drug Gamer. This was one hell of an episode! Smoking! That! What the hell? Okay, this is gonna be interesting. Hope you guys join me next time for Boundless. Okay, why is everything so gray? I guess we'll find out this episode. Well, next episode. See you guys then.